As the cost of living rises in Australia, it's getting more and more difficult to retire and make ends meet.
Now, more and more Australians are moving overseas in a bid to stretch their dollars further. So, how do you go about it and what can go wrong? Co-founder of Aspire Retire, Olivia Maragna, is here to tell us. So, Olivia, why are more Australians choosing to retire overseas?
Well, good morning, guys. And I think if we look at the cost of living here in Australia, it's making it very unaffordable for many Australians. So they're looking at abroad and where they can live a more luxurious lifestyle or more glamorous lifestyle. They're also looking at the cost of their house. So the value of their house, can they actually trade that in, sell it up and look at moving overseas and actually using those funds to support them long term. But there's also, I guess, things like early redundancies, people not being prepared for retirement, but also, I guess, potentially a lack of resources to build up a relevant nest egg. So all of these are really combining for motivation to people looking abroad to seeing where they're actually going to live out their retirement.
So where are people actually going?
Well, look, lots of places. So we've got places like New Zealand, Italy, Greece and Spain. We've got other areas such as Thailand, Panama, Malaysia and Portugal as well. So look, lots of different places, I guess, for different reasons. But, if you consider places like Europe, it's a hop, skip and a jump to different countries. And, the travel and I guess the luxury lifestyle that they can be living differs very much from here in Australia.
Now, I would think one of the most important things would be ensuring that you actually have the cash to do this. So how do you plan for it financially?
Well, I think this is the important thing is cash is important. So you need to make sure that you know exactly how you're going to be supporting yourself whilst you are overseas. So really important to make sure that things like if you're drawing a pension from your superannuation fund at the moment, that you understand that those currency fluctuations are going to impact on how much you get on a month-to-month basis as well. I think a good backup is really important. So if you've still got your house here in Australia, maybe consider holding onto it just to make sure that obviously what you're planning on doing can be done and is sustainable. So, I think it's really difficult for someone who sells their house but tries to come back in 3 to 4 years' time and repurchase in the current market. So if prices increase, makes it extremely hard. But I think also from a backup plan point of view is don't think that it's too late to plan for retirement. So if you don't have that right nest egg, make sure you're seeking advice, looking at your superannuation, maybe salary sacrificing in a really tax-effective way that can boost your nest egg.
So Olivia, let's just get this straight. So there's a lot of people going to Italy, places like Italy, that are better to retire than Australia. That all sounds well and good, but what's the fine print here?
Well, I think the important thing is to make sure that obviously things like age pension I think is really important. So if you're expecting on still receiving an age pension, check out the rules in relation to that. It is very, very complex. So keep that in mind to make sure that you're going to support yourself. But also keep in mind a lot of people are actually not relying on the age pension when they go overseas and retire as well. So when they are looking at strategies like selling up the house, they actually don't require a lot of age pension. So we're seeing people who are, spending money about a third or half the cost of what they're doing here in Australia. So they don't need as much money to support themselves long term.
One of the things that I would worry about here, Olivia, is obviously as we get older, we have more and more health problems. How are you covered medically if you're moving somewhere like, say, Thailand or the south of France?
And I think, look, this is really important and probably the biggest concern for most people moving overseas is, am I going to get the facilities that I actually require? But more importantly, how big is that medical bill going to be whilst I am overseas? So really important to obviously do your research. There's lots of resources out there to look at the medical systems in different countries, but also here in Australia, look at your own health insurance. So is there a possibility there that you can suspend your premiums for a period of time? But more importantly, I think as well is aged care. A lot of people need to consider long term, what sort of facility do I want to be in if I do become medically ill or can't support myself, but also grandkids. A lot of people forget about grandkids. They retire, they don't yet have grandkids. Things change when you have grandkids and generally people like to be closer to them. So have a think about long-term aged care. Do I want that overseas or do I want that here back in Australia?
All right, good tips, good advice there. Olivia, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.